It's always good to have an electrical expert in the family. Hey, St. Louis is one big family, everybody. Stay tuned for this one. Welcome back, everybody, to Your Little Castle Show. We do get to speak to some of the best experts in the community. Somebody that actually is a fellow Lutheran South grad, everybody. So don't hold that against us. We both went to Lutheran South, and I'm just a lot older. I bet you.
Not too bad.
It would be believable. I'm getting up there. I'm almost 97 years old, everybody. No, I'm joking. 53. And he's 40 years younger than me. 50 years younger. No, he's a few years behind. He can say, he mentioned it there. But we talked about one of the big, most important questions I like to ask, because how often is it we have our house that has some kind of electrical issue?
All the time.
All the time.
Daily.
I thought I was the only one.
Right.
You're calling me out here a little bit. Did you see the problems that I had?
I've seen it.
Up until yesterday, we had run in separate wires from other rooms because each separate portable air conditioner had to go off a separate circuit or blow a circuit. Can't keep blowing circuits all the time, right?
No.
That causes problems in the middle of a show. But as of today, we've got a separate circuit run. Yesterday, they had a crew to do that. But you can talk about how often the overwhelming demand for electricity now is just going up and up and up. So if you missed that first show, everybody, check it out. Our friend Sean here talks about it because he can help you make sure you manage that properly. But with that, tell us the biggest mistake that people make. I can only imagine you don't want to make any mistakes. When
yeah, I mean, diving into something that you don't feel comfortable with, that's a mistake, will come out. Or a lot of times they'll take 3, 4 bids and they'll go with the cheapest bid, and that doesn't always work out so well either, because you don't want to be the cheapest bid. Even us. If I come in the lowest, that's not good because we missed something probably, and that's usually what a lot of those low bids do. They'll come in and they'll be the lowest and then start tacking things on as they go. And then all of a sudden they're not the lowest anymore. They're the most expensive. So
start low ball and then end up going up as you come. And then you can say, hey, by the way, we're in the middle of this now. You're going to switch out electrical contractors? Probably not.
No, so you're pretty much locked in at that point.
Well, and is it also true that it's because one electrical guy doesn't want to have to come in and figure out what the other guy did?
That's time consuming as well.
And so you redo everything, and that's where they get you. So make sure you get that good solid bid from a company that's been proven. And back to cheap gets very expensive. So the biggest mistake people make, not doing their homework, essentially.
Yeah, do a little homework. Go read those reviews. That's what we're working on a lot. But there's plenty of companies with plenty of reviews, and you can see exactly how they operate a lot of times through the reviews. So
maybe you could get a half-hour discussion, or at least listen to a half-hour interview on ABC with the owner. That's what we're doing here, everybody. We think that we need to share a little bit of the information from the experts, so we put them on TV because they deserve to have that kind of spotlight put on them, because they're the ones doing the work in our community.
Sure.
Thank you for coming in here, Sean.
No problem.
With that, residential, commercial, industrial, you talked about that. And if you had to break it down as a matter of percentages, what would you say each one of those categories?
I think we're 50-50 commercial residential right now.
Okay.
Maybe a little higher, maybe 60-40 residential. But my background's a lot of commercial work. We can handle it. That's not a problem. I did a lot of control work. We can handle that. We can do low volt, whatever you need.
And we're talking about low volt. You're talking about networking. You're talking about devices that
you need Cat 5 run for security. You need it for computers. You need whatever. We can do all that.
Yeah, and those are things that are important. They are technically, there's a voltage. It's a low voltage. They call it low voltage. And so then, but you run those. I've done Cat 5 cables, everybody. You don't want a broken cable. Now you've got all. Where's the problem? Why can't we communicate? What's going on? Why is the system down? Get that done right too.
Oh, absolutely.
You talked about the controls a little bit too. I mean, I didn't realize, but yeah, you talk about these panels that come in for, and not just one panel for one air conditioning unit, if you will. And then you've got 7 of those in some of these commercial buildings.
Oh, at least,
for one building. And then so much of that has to be managed properly, or else you can blow a circuit and ruin a unit.
I mean, no air conditioning is no good. People get real mad when they're cold and they're hot. So you want to make sure you know what you're doing on that as well.
Again, get the experts. I didn't realize that. But yeah, and it's on the website here. If I can pull that up, let me see if I've got that on the wall here, but I'll share with everybody. But yeah, you want to, here is just some of the work that they offer. But the EV charging, there we go, lighting.
We do quite a few EVs.
BAS, what does BAS stand for?
Building automation, and that's pretty much what I was talking about with that control work.
Yeah,
we
that's
can
the
handle
controls. Yeah. So if that's some of the expertise you need, then do that. There's that data we talked about, and of course, generators, because if you don't have power, you better have some kind of a backup. And
Yeah.
Generators, other than like getting water running and a bunch of gerbils you're going through
Right.
that doesn't work so well.
No, I mean, and we can do anything from have a quick connect outside to your standard Home Depot. You go buy a generator and you just want to plug it in when there's an issue, or we can do the Generacs where they're permanent installs. They turn on automatically and they can power your house like it never even happened.
Wow, yeah, that's kind of cool if you've got something like, I've got a little battery backup for our show, everybody. I've got like 10 minutes and it'll only power the computer long enough to shut things down. Because when you lose power, man, all kinds of things go haywire. And then you better have somebody that knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
How often do people have those generators now? Is that becoming very much
Oh
more
yeah,
popular?
and it
even
just
for
depends
residential?
where they're located in the city. Some places are the grid's a little stronger. It doesn't go down as much to more. You get out past Jefferson County, St. Charles County. The grid's not as stable, right? And if something comes through, you're going to be last on the list to be turned on. So it's a good option for if you're going out a lot.
Wow, I hadn't thought about that yet. But literally, and it's just because as the grid, there's not as many wires run, so then they're getting to you. It's one more. They're going all the way out. Well,
Yeah.
it's one run out or what?
Yeah,
to that
one
house.
customer out way out there is not a big deal. When you've got 500 out in one local area in St. Louis, they're going to fix them first.
Yeah,
So,
how can they make the biggest impact to get things back up and running again?
Yeah.
And if you've got a fifibrillator, no, not a fibrillator. What was the device?
defibrillator? No.
No, I don't want.
That's
even further down.
Yeah.
More severe. But gosh, I'm gonna think about it. We should Google search that at some point. But yeah, anything that helps you to breathe. That's important. Respirator, that's for sure. If you've got one at home, and then we get our tanks, and then some of those are portable, but they've got to be charged. And how often is it the matter of people just need their electrical to charge something? Right?
Yeah. I mean, charge. Your electric goes out, your food in your fridge will go bad over a certain time. It starts getting hot. Your kids' iPads aren't charged. They're getting mad at you. The internet doesn't work. There's a lot of factors.
Yes. How many times does the internet just go down? Well, it was just the power that went out for a split second, but it rebooted the router, and then you got to wait for the router to go through its whole cycle and all that stuff. So, again, make sure we got the experts talking about that. Good stuff. But tell me a time. I can imagine as many years as you've been in business now. Give me a couple examples of people that you knew they were kind of left out to dry, hung out to dry, but you stepped up and decided to help them.
Well, one
came through.
particular instance, this last tornado that came through on May 16th or somewhere around there, I know that.
Right.
We got quite a few emergency calls because if your service gets ripped off your house, Ameren will string the line back up, but you're responsible for putting it back up. So they won't do that. The meter and everything, that's on you. So they're out, they want to be on. We got some emergency calls, and we came right out really quickly and got their power back on.
So help me understand it. Let's say a power line is out. They'll run it up to the nearest junction box or hub or whatever, and it gets to the house, but the meter at the house I'm responsible for?
Exactly. They are responsible for the drop to the house, where it's made up at the top, but down from there and in, that's all on you. Underground's a little more, doesn't get ripped out the house so much because
Right.
tree limbs don't fall on it, but you're responsible for the meter and in. So if there's an issue, you got to call an
I
electrician.
guess that makes sense because when the house was initially built, it wasn't the electrical company that came in to do that. It
Exactly.
was the electrical. It wasn't the electric, like the Ameren or et cetera. I'm talking about, but it was an electrical contractor that took it from there and brought it into the house.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's where that needs to be managed and set up correctly again. And do it correctly because there's high voltage stuff. What's the average power that comes into the house? Is it 240?
120, 240 single phase is the most common on most houses, and it just depends on the amperage. Small houses 100, a little bigger 200, up to 400, and it can get even bigger than that if you're really wanting to get into it.
And this is stuff that comes straight from the electrical company, and then you modulate that accordingly. And amperage, that's the impedance, how quickly it goes, right?
Well, that's how much you use. If you got air conditioners running and you got electric stoves and you got electric heat, you're going to draw a lot more amps through the house, and you're going to need a bigger service.
Okay.
So.
All of those things, and you can do that to add extra circuits.
Yeah, we
you might
do it
even put
all the
another
time.
board for somebody.
You wouldn't believe how many times we come in and they got a 100 amp service and they want to add car chargers and they want to go from gas to electric heat. Well, you got to upgrade your service. We can do that, no problem.
Okay, but that's where you get into. There's a new circuit, the electrical
Whole
box.
new board, yeah, whole new box, bigger wires coming in, everything.
Okay, because I was recently looking at ours because they just did this for the AC, and like there's one big old wire that comes in the top.
Oh yeah.
And then some other wires, and where do they go? And the 50 watt amps, or what are your circuit breakers? They say 15, 20, 30.
Yeah.
And the one said 50, but that was for the hot tub.
Yep.
What does that mean?
That means the hot tub's going to draw more. It's got heating elements, got jets. I mean, when that thing's rolling, you've got a lot of amps coming out, pulling out of your panel. But, small circuits where you're just plugging in lights and stuff, that's usually 15 amp. And anything and everything between that.
And the only reason you blow those is because you've got too many lights on or too many things going on.
Exactly, yep.
And that's when you get that 20 or the 25. Somebody told me you never want to get more than a 30 because you start to melt them together depending on what you're going to do.
It just depends on the situation. So you don't want to have the old fuse panel, which we change a lot of those, where you're blowing the 15 and now they're screwing a 30, and that's where a house is burned down.
Yeah,
so
okay, so that's what I'm saying. And the switches now versus the fuses,
yeah,
they trip, the breakers. They trip, but if you're tripping them all the time, there's some kind of a surge that's going in there when you're turning something on.
You've got an issue.
Space heaters,
yeah, big
those
time.
become a problem?
Mm-hmm. All the time. They draw a lot of amps as well. So.
And how often do you see those burnt marks on the outlet? That's because
it happens. Usually it's with the space heater,
and the space heater that causes there.
The tongs are getting a little loose, and the outlet's been plugged into a lot, and then they start drawing amperage, and heat builds up, and they'll burn up real quick.
Is that what they call? I've heard the term arcing. Arcing. Essentially, that's the wire. The electrical's jumping across.
Yeah, it's trying to. Yeah, if you unplug something with high amperage real quick, it'll arc, and you'll have that flash. The newer code is bringing in arc fault breakers. In the city, they've already adopted it, where it's supposed to catch that and kill the circuit before it does that. It's still new technology. It hasn't 100% been,
This is what we're talking about. But you better get somebody who knows what they're talking about, or else you risk a lot. I've seen that where the spark flew out of there.
Oh yeah.
And that spark, if it happens to get caught on a piece of lint or something, then that's how.
Oh yeah. That's a fire.
Fires get started, and then you're not calling the electrical company, you're calling the fire company. Then you're calling the electrical
company.
You
got to rebuild and we got to rewire. So we don't want to do that.
Yes, avoid that part. I love the fire guys. They saved my life.
Yeah.
But they know that, like, when they have to go to a scene, it was not a good situation. You should have had that checked by your electrical experts.
Absolutely.
First, how often do you recommend somebody gets their circuitry checked? Just to say, hey, you're adding this, you're doing these things. You got a computer, a laptop, a refrigerator, stove, electric stove.
If you ever hear any sort of buzzing, or if you think that there's any sort of issue, you definitely want to have someone come out and look at it. We can look at your panel. And a lot of times there's water intrusion too. When you have those outdoor services, that cable can turn into almost a garden hose if it's not sealed up correctly, and then it's washing out your panel essentially, and you're going to get rust and hot spots and stuff like that. So you need to have it checked. Yeah.
I should have had the camera on me. My jaw's dropping open.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
And water can be, even if it's a drip that comes in there, it gets on that board, and it can cause a short circuit. And you start seeing smoke coming out of there.
Then the breakers don't have the tolerances that they were designed for, and they won't trip when they need to, and it can be an issue. So you want to have it looked at. Okay,
there we go. Now we know why you need to have the expert talk about this stuff. All right, well, and I appreciate that, the story you're helping with people. Tell me then a little bit, how has technology changed? You talked about the change with regard to the measuring when a potential arcing might be happening. I guess those things can be detected now as we get more sensitive with our tools.
Yeah. I mean, we've gone from fuse panels to breaker panels, and there was aluminum wiring in the 70s. They realized that didn't work out so well, which it still can be safe as long as it's not manipulated too much. And now there's GFI protection when you're around water. That keeps people safe. So if you don't have those in your house, you want to get somebody out for sure. Within 6 foot, you need to be GFI protected, absolutely.
And GFI is ground fault interrupter. Okay. And that's because as soon as it senses that surge, because water got in there that caused an arc, a heavy arc, I guess, that would give it a big jolt, it'll shut that thing off.
Yeah, it's measuring the difference between the hot and the neutral, and if there's a variance, it pops it. So when you drop the toaster in the water, it's gonna save your life, literally. And that's the point of it.
Is that like having a miniature breaker inside that? So
essentially, yes. It'll pop even before it even gets to the panel. It's instant.
Yeah, and it gives it a little more sensitivity. But yeah, I've seen where now, and they're talking about, we had an instance down at a property we have in Fayette, Missouri, and they said, oh yeah, the GFIs you have here, they're 10 years old, and that's when they start to get worn, and you got to start thinking about replacing GFIs that should be in every bathroom and every kitchen. But after they get about 10 years, or what is the normal?
I've seen them work longer, but yeah, with anything that's got any sort of circuitry in it, over time, water, everything deteriorates it. So you can have them checked. We have tools to check all stuff like that. If you're thinking, hey, this may not be working, we can check it out.
And you're fine with that little service call? You got a service call that's on the wall there?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We can check anything you need. If you're worried about something, you can go on there, you can book it. We'll be out within a day or two, or we'll schedule it, however it happens. We do have a pretty nifty thing you can pick on the website, and you can even pick your day and your time.
Yeah, was that underneath booking? I'll put that up there for
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah. If you click on booking for a homeowner quote or for a troubleshoot, service call, whatever.
Okay, yeah. So take a look there, everybody. And there's book, and they can literally, and depending on what they need, click that and
Exactly.
go through the process.
You can click your day, you can click your time. It's very easy, and you put your information in just like that. You're literally doing it now. You put your address in, and it's so neat. It'll go right to my Google Calendar, and boom, you're on the schedule.
So he knows when that appointment is set. I try to do the same thing for our show here. We don't have to talk all the time to coordinate. It's just so much energy gets spent going back and forth,
Yeah.
and coordinating and texting. Just go to bookthecowboy.com, everybody. But in this case, marshallelectric.com/bookings. That's just booking 1. Booking 2, to pick the category that you want there, because obviously there's a lot of work that you do that you can specialize and give them. So then you know who to send out there too, I guess.
Yeah, we try to make it as user-friendly as possible.
Very good stuff, everybody. All right, we're going to take a quick break here, share a little bit more about what's going on in the community. Let's take a look here at what some of the fun stuff we get to do. All right, everybody, I've got Jackson now. I hired as my highly priced videographer. We didn't say highly paid, we said highly priced. Come on up here, Jackson. So this is your dad, right?
Yes, sir.
Kevin. A couple things I noticed about Kevin. Awesome jersey he's got on there, right? Another thing really cool. Veteran, everybody. Air Force. And the Army. Served in both. Protecting us, keeping us safe.
Absolutely.
Help us maintain this little thing we like called freedom, where we can go to Cardinal games whenever we want
Whenever
to.
you want, walk downtown and have a good time and be safe.
Tell me what you love about when you served in the military, real quick. I'm going to ask you what you love about the Cardinals. Come on up here a little bit, though.
I actually work on military bases pretty much on a weekly basis, and so I love going to the military base and make sure that I do telecommunications. So I want to make sure that we provide the communications that's going to help them perform and do the things they need to do.
That's important.
That's what I want.
That's what I went for grad school. Well, lots of the fun stuff that we get to do there, but we got a little bit more we're going to share with you, everybody. So check out some other excitement. Giddy up.
His name is Carter Rethwich, but in St. Louis, he's known as the Cardinal Cowboy. He's a well-known fixture in the stands at sporting events in the Gateway City. He's one of its greatest cheerleaders, a super fan like no other. When he makes his rounds at almost every home game, he shares his love for sports with the rest of fandom with a smile, a cheer, some positive encouragement, and lots of selfies and pics. But the Cardinal Cowboy was born of a tragic incident. Rethwich was an aspiring athlete in high school and college. He dreamed of playing in the big leagues, but those dreams ended when he and 3 of his college friends were hit with a devastating crash by a 5-time drunk driver. One of his best friends died. Carter suffered a critical head injury. The trauma put him in a coma for 6 days. The doctors said he was never expected to function again. Those expectations never came true. He fought back and finished college. He was determined to prove the doctors wrong. Among other inspirations, it was his love of baseball that kept him going. And from his near-death experience, the Cardinal Cowboy emerged. His goal in life became to inspire others with positivity despite the odds, to help people believe in themselves and achieve their dreams.
So after Cardinal Cowboy here, I want to invite all of you to be part of my new team. No, you don't have to put on a baseball uniform and be a super fan. Now, it would be a good idea to cheer for the Cardinals, the greatest team in the history of the National League. But I'm talking about the Gold Cowboy team. You know, I love to help people follow their dreams and reach their goals in business and in life. So that's one of the reasons why I'm telling you about my friends at My Metal Pro. They help people like you and I acquire gold and silver with a membership that lets you safely buy, sell, and store gold and silver. They make it real easy to get started. My Metal Pro isn't like the big guys you see on network TV or the big coin shops that take a huge commission. So become part of my Gold Cowboy team. Scan the QR code or go to goldcowboy.com and check it out. Giddy up! So Sean and I get to talk a little bit about life and the things that are out there. Learn more about that gold stuff. And my buddy, who's the top distributor in the company, he's waiting to meet with me after this meeting. He comes in town to work with me. Macon, Missouri, #1 distributor in the country. But if you want to learn more about gold, go to goldcowboy.com. We were also talking about different things we get to do in the community. And it seems like, is that a Lutheran thing? Is that a humanitarian thing? What is it about us? I think all of us generally are built that way. Try to help other people, offer to make a difference. And the more you give to truly help somebody,
Sure.
the happier you end up being. I don't talk about that part as much. It's like, no, but you end up happy that way. Is that true?
Oh, for sure. And I mean, helping people get their power back on, they're happy. And I love doing it, If we can get you on, we'll get you on as quick as we can. So,
very cool. All right. We talked about the technology and some of the latest, greatest stuff, fun stuff you've got, but walk me through that process. I know that they can book, but let's just imagine somebody has an issue, and I guess you give me a couple scenarios. If they prefer, they go right to the website, click the booking button, and they'll go right to your calendar and you show up. Somebody says, no, I want to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
You call in, phone number there, right there on the website. There it is, 314.
647-1477.
Okay, and that is at the top.
Yeah, it's right there.
But it's it's right here. There it is, everybody. Good. Make that easy, cool. And then you're gonna walk. They're gonna come out, get a bid, and take it from there. Tell me the
It
process.
depends on what you want to do. If you call us and you need us to come out and just fix something real quick, we can do it. If you want a bid, we're happy to come give a bid. Sometimes it's something small, and we can just fix it right on the spot. We'll do that. You can also text us on that number. That goes right to a phone, and we'll text you right back. We'll get right back to you.
Very cool. Well, that's a pretty simple process, but you got to keep it simple because we all have too much going on.
Yeah, we got a lot going on. Yeah,
and,
I get it.
And I love the way you've got this scheduling everybody up. I'll put that one more time. But their homeowners quote. There you go. Troubleshooting, service call, ceiling fan. There you go. We talked about that.
Yeah, all the time.
General electric, home inspection. Oh yeah, panel inspection. That's an important one. All their choose from one of those 6. Probably a general. Hey, they can just come out and check out what the problem is too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, good stuff. What is the one big challenge that you would say as a business owner? We talked about this during commercial break there, everybody, but interesting story. That's pretty cool. Talk about that.
Yeah, well, being an electrician in the field and just going to work every day was great, and I had no quarrels with it, but taking over is a lot more work, and it's fine. I love it. It keeps me on my toes. I tell my wife all the time how much I like it. I really do like it. But it's challenging. You got customers you got to deal with, and we try and be as civil and nice as we can, and we'll come out and we'll fix whatever we can. I got a schedule. You got to wrangle everybody, make sure they're in the right spots. It's a lot, but I love it.
Yeah, I can only imagine there's people, they're pretty stressed by the time they're calling you because there's some big things you're going, we'll take care of you. It's going to be okay.
Yeah,
you become a bit of a counselor at times.
Oh, for sure. And there's definitely times where people are pretty upset, and we'll come out and we'll look at it and be like, we need to fix this immediately, but this is okay. We'll safe it for now, for a day or two till we can get someone out here and fix it the correct way.
Yeah, there's a temporary way to patch something together to keep people from being harmed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wires sticking up out of the ground. It's like, don't touch that wire.
Yeah. We'll safe that off so your kid doesn't grab it or something and really have some fun.
Yeah, that would not be a good scenario for anybody. Well, that's why this is such a critical industry. We like to talk to our electrical experts, everybody. But check them out here. Marshall Electric, reliable electricians, St. Louis, Missouri. MarshallElectric.com. 314-647-1477. And they can text that number and they'll go right to you and start
anytime.
Anytime. So are you have after hours too? And 2 o'clock in the morning if somebody needs it?
It may not be a really quick response, but we'll try and get to it. We have it always on, and weekends too. We do emergency calls on the weekends quite a bit too.
Okay, yeah, and obviously people will pay a little extra for some of that, I would imagine, depending on what
the rates do go up a little bit, obviously, because we got to pull somebody from somewhere or whatever's going on. But we'll get out there and we'll do it.
Cool, that's what we need. And the bottom line, these people just want it fixed anyway, and they probably would be willing to pay quite a bit more because it's so vital for whatever's going on. But make sure everybody just does a good job fair pricing, and you see the great reviews Sean and his team have there too. All right, well, tell me then. We got a few minutes left here. What's a major objection people have? I guess is it always price, or is it helping them understand the process a lot of times? Because electricity is very confusing for a lot of people. This bolt comes out of the sky, and how does that come into my phone? But tell me what it is.
Objection, sometimes price, we try and be as fair as we can. We're a smaller shop. Our prices are a little less. We don't have as much overhead as the larger ones. So that helps quite a bit. Sometimes people don't want to do things the right way. They want to do them the cheap way. And we won't do that. You know, we're going to do it the right way. So
Yeah, well, nobody wants a pending lawsuit because then somebody got electrocuted.
Yeah,
Like, we're
absolutely.
not just talking about like skinning your knee here. We're talking about some serious stuff could happen. And you don't want to cut corners with electricity.
No.
I can imagine, but you have people that are like, no, just do it the cheap way and leave the wires hanging. I mean,
Yeah,
come on.
yeah.
It couldn't be that bad, but geez.
Yeah, and I'm not saying people do this the cheap way, but we do a lot of pools, and there's a process to wire a pool. You know, it's got to be safe. It's got to be inspected, permitted correctly. You don't want to just throw a pool together because you've got electric and water mixing directly. So
Yeah, you've got a lot of water, and if we know water does conduct electricity and can cause lots of problems.
yeah, get out of the pool when the rain starts coming in.
That's why they tell you if there's a thunderstorm, lightning. How many of you all playing baseball? Like, you had to leave the baseball field just because it was lightning. Don't you think you should get out of the pool? Right?
Yeah, right.
You're just asking for trouble in such a situation. Well, tell me then, what about this as we finish up? What gives you the most satisfaction about what you get to do?
I think helping people when they're down, power, for instance, the tornado one, that was really humbling because these people wanted to get back on, and we were able to help them. You know, you got a life to live, and not having electric really slows things down, you know, and totally throws off everybody. So when we can run out there and get them back on, it really made people. I saw a lot of smiles. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, we all know what it's like to be without power. How frustrated we get when our car won't start, right? Because the battery's dead. Well, when you're talking about a house, now you're talking about you can't eat, you can't cook your food, you can't sleep potentially because whatever you can't see, you can't get your lighting. A lot of things that get affected with a house, and then we get into the whole situation where you've got literal people depending on it because they have some medical device at the house that if it's not running, lives are at stake.
And that might be a time to consider a generator if you're going out a lot and you do have those life-saving things in your house.
Yeah, we don't want to have life-critical devices. My dad had a couple of those. Heart monitors, all these things that help give information to the doctors, at least, even if it's not critical, like he's not going to, he could potentially pass because it's not running, but it's the data that they need from off of those things. And if it's not running, they can't track what's going on to help fix the problem. And then there's the other end of that where, like, it's a pacemaker charger or something like that. Those are big things that you need to make sure to take care of. All right, as we finish up here, tell me, you talked a little bit about how you contribute to the community. The video there we had with our veteran. You have some work you do in the community. What would you talk about most that you do?
We've done a few things. We've done some light shows and stuff. I think that's been pretty cool. We do give a veteran discount. You know, if you're a vet, we appreciate you, and we'll help you out with that. And as I get bigger, I'd like to give to more organizations to push the name up, but also help youth development. We're big into soccer, me and my son, so that's a big thing that I want to help get some youth into as well.
So not only did Sean and I both go to Lutheran South, we both played soccer at Lutheran South.
We did.
That soccer mecca. We went to state championship a couple times. We lost both times. You guys were on the path there too.
Yeah, we lost in sectionals, but such is life, right?
Hey, but great experience. You get to learn a lot,
and
it gives you some of that. How do you win? How do you lose? How do you compete? And all those things we gain from playing sports. Would you agree? That's an important piece of what we went there. All right, everybody, stay tuned for more. We'll be back for another rendition of the Your Little Castle Show. Shout out to Marshall Electric. Get a hold of Sean. These guys will take care of you. Giddy up.